is a show that focuses on the person behind the brony. I'm your host, Osaka Jack. Please sit back and relax as we talk to this week's guest brony. Hello everyone, this is Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight on my 1-year special. 52 weeks down, 52 interviews down. Today we're going to do something a little bit differently. I'm actually not going to be in control this time. I have asked my previous guests to email in questions, and today to ask me those questions and generally engage with me is my guest, Final Draft. Hello, sir.
Control is no longer yours. Sorry, I had to. Hey, how are you doing?
I am doing rather well for AM.
You know, everybody, if you didn't realize, Osaka Jack gets his name from the city that he resides in Japan. You're in Osaka, Japan right now.
Yes, this is correct.
You are literally in Tokyo time.
Well, Japan has the same time zone, so yes, I am in Tokyo time.
There you go. Well, yeah, it looks like you've got quite a few questions that have been sent to you. And now, maybe you could describe to the audience here how these questions were submitted.
Well,
because you haven't read them yet.
I have not read any of these questions. No, not whatsoever. About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I sat down with a list of my 52 previous guests, and I emailed and tweeted and messaged, and I actually set up an email account, and I set up the password, and I asked them to email the questions to it. I haven't accessed it since this morning, and I just did that to check that questions were in there, but I haven't read any of them. So, yeah, all of this is going to be a complete surprise to me. I have no clue what's going to be asked.
Now, I also have not really read through them, but I've read a little bit into them, and I'm kind of excited to ask a few of these because I think some people have some fun questions for you.
Oh my!
Yeah, before we get started, I just want to say congratulations. You know, 50.
Well, thank you.
This is our 53rd episode. You informed me, so technically the anniversary was last week, but technicalities aside, yeah.
Well, my first show was premiered on November 1st Japan time, but Halloween American time, and I remember that because one of the people listening in, Joy the artist, couldn't listen to the whole thing because she had to go up and answer the door for trick-or-treaters.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, that will happen. Actually, you've had quite a few really cool, really interesting, and cool is one of those generic terms. You've had a lot of fascinating guests over the past year, and I know how much work you've put into it. For you guys out there, I mean, Osaka Jack works really, really hard on this show and has been really dedicated to it. So,
and I do hate to mention it often, but yeah, it is mostly a one-man operation. I set up the interviews, I do the interviews, I do the audio editing, I render the video. Sterling, good friend Sterling, is the artist who gets the cards done, so I don't do the art for it. But other than that, yeah. Well, yeah. You know, Crescendo pushes play and makes sure that the show gets going when it goes.
She knows how to do that well. But yeah, no, it's been, I mean, you've secured the interviews and you've done most of the, well, not most of it, you've done all the editing, and yeah, it's definitely a lot of dedication, and a solid year of that is hard to accomplish for anyone doing any kind of a podcast. So congratulations from me and the rest of the EFN crew. But I think these guys, you know, we can pat each other on the backs as much as possible. They want to hear you tormented by questions.
I'm ready. Let's hit it.
All right. I'm going to just ask the first one right off the bat here. And I'm going to read it verbatim. This is from Calvin's, and I'm pronouncing this name wrong, Sia, which I believe he's...
Death Star. Right. Death
yes,
Star.
Indeed. Quote, "You are part of a survivor team in a zombie apocalypse. There are 3 weapons in front of you, a sword, a pistol, and an assault rifle. Each of these guns comes with 3 clips of ammo. Which will you pick and why?" And and he's got a real question after that, but I want to hear your answer.
That is interesting. I think... What was the first part of the question? Just zombie apocalypse?
It's a zombie apocalypse, and you've got to choose between 3 weapons. Yep, a sword, a pistol, or an assault rifle.
Yeah, I just... okay, apocalypse implies that there's a whole bunch of them coming at us.
Yep.
Okay, sword would last longer, but honestly, with a sword, there's so much of a chance of getting blood on me or getting a cut myself and getting infected. So honestly, even though it's going to last less time, I'm going to go with the pistol I know that in the light games in the arcade, I'm pretty accurate, so I probably could get off three clips worth. Might be enough to get me to a somewhat safe place, but I think pistol would be my best chance of surviving as long as possible.
As opposed to an assault rifle? Because I would have said assault rifle. Really pack
assault rifle, I think I would burn through ammo unintentionally too quickly, and would not be as accurate after the first shot.
Fair enough. Well, he did send a, quote, real question. And that is, what is your favorite response to any question from a guest you've had?
Oh, good question. Well, my signature question that seems to stump most of the people that I ask is, the question is, in all of My Little Pony, what would you say is the one line or one scene that defines you as a brony, or speaks to you as a person? This stumps a lot of people. And I get a lot of great responses from it, but one of the best ones, honestly, was last week when I interviewed Fina Helian, the Swedish Luna.
Mm-hmm.
And her response on it after thinking of it was literally to give a Nightmare Moon laugh.
That's an unfair advantage.
True it is, but it was largely unexpected response to the question, and she backed it up, saying that she loved playing Luna's character because it had so many sides to it, and everybody has a darker side and a lighter side, and they're hoping that, you know, when we have a lighter side, we can be forgiven for what we did as a darker side, etc. But yeah, I think that's one of the better ones, is the Nightmare Moon laugh.
Well, and you were really excited after you had finished recording that interview.
I was.
He sent me a message, and he's like, "Here, you have to hear this." And sent me a couple clips of her doing the Swedish lines for Luna and Nightmare Moon, and
and Derpy.
And Derpy, yep. Yep, very funny stuff. Okay, well, the next question here is from Problems. What I think your first guest ever.
He was the first person I interviewed, but actually the second, maybe third one aired. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah, I always remember him as the first interview you got, but you also you've recorded quite a few. In your production schedule behind the scenes is a little different than maybe what it appears in front of the scenes. You record a lot of interviews, you know, kind of in chunks, and then you edit them and then distribute them on a weekly basis, which I think a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, my time tends to be flood or drought. So during the flood times, I try to get as many interviews done as I can, so that when I have drought, I can just release them slowly. When I went to Everfree Northwest, for example, the show never stopped, because the month before I had recorded like 4 or 5 interviews at once and just edited all those to be released.
Speaking of Everfree Northwest, I just want to tell a quick anecdote that I think is hilarious. So it was the first time I had met Osaka Jack in person, and we knew he was going to be there, and when I got there, Cowboy Dave tells me, yeah, I met Osaka Jack. He's really, really short. He's really short. Like, he's almost like, I'm not going to say he's a dwarf, but maybe in some states. I was like, okay, I didn't expect that, but all right. And so I don't know what I was doing. Yeah, okay, you laugh it up, Dave. But yeah, no, Dave is doing our production tonight. I don't know what I was doing. It was something near the production booth, and up walks Osaka Jack, and of course he's taller than me, and I said, I was told you were short. And I don't remember exactly what your response was, but it was something like, well, they lied to you.
Yeah,
all according to
for a short time, I tried to start the rumor that I was incredibly short. One of the first pictures posted of me was next to John Joseko, who is not incredibly tall himself, but I was literally on my knees, so it looked like I was a good head shorter than he was.
Yeah, I mean, I had seen a picture of you before, and I'm like, you don't, in the picture, it was like, you didn't look that short. Anyway.
No, actually, I'm 6'1".
See, like I said, he's bleeps and bells. Actually, I think technically I'm 6'1", but I'm all hunched over. Anyway, so this is this question comes from Problems, and I'm just going to read it verbatim. First of all, congratulations on the 1-year anniversary. It's cool to think that I being Problems, was the first person you actually interviewed for the show. You're a kick-awesome guy, and I'm proud to call you my friend. Aw, that's adorable.
That's wonderful. Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Let's see here. He did the same thing, a funny question and a semi-serious one. Funny question. Over under on my chances of getting Maddie Peters to go on a date with me. I don't know.
What was it? One more time. I'm sorry.
I think he wants to know what his your opinion on his chances of getting Maddie Peters to go out with him. This has been a running joke with
Right. Yes, yeah. Over a full year, we've been doing that joke with him.
Yep.
I would say it's not impossible, but I would say give up before you reach stalker level.
Yeah, just a little bit. No, he hasn't gotten that far. All right, the semi-serious question: if you could interview anyone who works on MLP, who would it be? And he signs off with "Stay hype, Senpai Jack. Shine that light."
Nice. You know what? That's good. We should change the name of Into the Spotlight to just Shine That Light. I like. All right, starting second year, just Shine That Light.
Season 2. Season 3 will be Illuminate That Spot.
Gosh, well...
Guest host, was it, Slate Bok Choi, but anyway.
Gosh, anybody who works on MLP... Well, of course there's a desire to talk to Lauren Faust, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of people get to do that. But at the same time, I'm not sure I could come up with a lot of questions that she hasn't been asked about it before, so I'm not sure it would be that interesting of an interview.
I think any interview with Lauren Faust is interesting.
You know who I would really like to speak to are the voice casting directors. I would like to speak to some of the people who actually do the direction in the booth when they are recording. We've heard from the voice artists, and we've heard from production staff who've even been invited, but to my knowledge, I don't recall ever listening to a voice director speak.
If only someone was currently in the process of trying to make that happen. Ooh. No, well, hell, I'll let people know. We're definitely trying to get some of the vocal directors interviewed.
Oh, nice.
And pursuing that, yeah.
Great.
So that would be an interesting interview. That's something I've been wanting to do for a long time too.
Yeah.
They need more attention as well. They work really hard at what they're doing.
Sure.
Okay. This next question is from Marjan Tomba. Marjan in the chat, yes. And I see him. He's in the. Excuse me. I see that he is in the IRC this evening.
Hey, Marjan.
So here is the question verbatim. First of all, huge congrats on the 1-year anniversary of the show.
Thank you.
So the big question I have is, what got you started on MLP? What was the defining moment where you stopped and said, "Yup, I like these pastel painted ponies"? That's a lot of alliteration there.
Yes, it is. I wonder if I can answer in alliteration. Well, we wanted... No, okay.
What are you, wallowing? Wimp?
Why?
Whither were... I can't even... No.
Okay. Started in MLP in general. I recall the first thing that I saw online was... it was Sonic Rain Boom scene, only the audio had been adjusted to be the theme from Guile's stage. So instead of the Sonic Rain Boom sound, it was Sonic Boom! It went out. And I saw that, and I just kind of stared at it. It wasn't really funny to me. I'm like, why was that humorous? But I admit being interested in the characters, like, well, that looks kind of interesting. I was never specifically against it. I mean, I like Powerpuff Girls. I live in Japan, so anime is, somewhat popular here.
It's out there. It's somewhere around there. Yeah.
So it was never a question of, I don't want to watch a cartoon. No, that was never into it. But it is a thing of, I don't live in a country that shows it, or hasn't shown it until, the last year. So it wasn't very easy for me to watch. So I had to, download it. Cough, download it. Mm-hmm. So I just started, I actually used it as a break in work. Every 6 months, I have to do a student report on each of my students, which I have to do it in one weekend. And it usually takes about 30 or 35 hours total. So I try to split it up 12 hours Friday, 12 hours Saturday, 12 hours Sunday. But I need breaks between those to just concentrate on nothing. And I usually will download a season of a show that I haven't seen, do a few reports, watch an episode, do a few reports, watch an episode. And it happened to be season 1 that I downloaded. So Yeah, I watched all of that before I had finished most of the reports. I said, "Oh wait, hold on, gotta finish these. And by that point, I think we had reached. It had been in season 2. Find a Pet. Find a Pet had just aired, so that is about the time that I became full-on brony.
It's an addictive show. It is. For me, my problem was when I got into it, I couldn't split it up like that. It had to all be just straight through. I'm pretty sure I went a day without sleep because I had to watch all the episodes. But that's me. Actually, Margin had another question in case that question was already asked.
Gotcha.
And and I like his style. He says, if that's already been asked, which, well, now it has, I'll throw this question back at you. What is the one line or one scene in MLP that would best define you as a brony? I'm glad somebody asked that.
I mentioned this before when I was on the MBS show, and you were on there too. But
I was on there once.
There's actually 2 of them for me, which it's my question. I'll allow 2. Can't stop me.
But what?
One of the so the first one is actually in the Best Night Ever, the Grand Galloping Gala. Fluttershy is so excited at seeing all the animals that she's been dreaming about that she runs into the clearing and all the animals scatter. And then she says just one of the best lines I can imagine. She says, "Oh, Fluttershy, you're such a loudmouth."
Yeah.
And it just blows me away that nobody, no pony, no character would ever call Fluttershy a loudmouth. It just doesn't happen. But in her own mind, she's a loudmouth, and she needs to quiet down. And I just find it funny that something that nobody would conceive her having a problem in is what she considers to be a problem of hers. The other one is actually not even a line. It's just a quick 1-second scene in Luna Eclipsed. When Luna has stormed off angrily, as it says in Friendship with Witchcraft, Twilight comes to find her, and we see Luna sitting dejectedly, hooving at a piece of candy in front of the Nightmare Moon statue. And she just looks so dejected, and she knows that's what she used to be, and she knows it's going to be hard, if not impossible, to ever get over that, and to have people see her as something good. But it broke my heart to see her like that. Just, yeah, this is what they see me as.
Yeah, so, well, of course I love that episode because Luna, and she may or may not be. No, she is the best pony, and it's. But yeah, I think that's a testament. That scene there is a testament to what the storyboarders and the layout artists can do, because that probably wasn't in the script. That was probably something they added in to enhance. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, this next question comes from Grey Kale himself.
Oh, yes!
Had to do it, had to call
Grey
him
Kale, Slate Bok Choy, Quartz Radicchio.
Sorry, that one got me. No, this is from Gabriel Brown, aka Black Griffin, accomplished musician. Question for Osaka Jack of Osaka, Japan, Nippon. He says, "What's your favorite Japanese candy / drink / food? Congratulations, you delightful gaijin you." And he actually signed it Gabe Griff Kale. So good on him.
Very nice, very nice. Oh gosh, okay. Best candy would be Haichu, which you've had that.
Have I?
Brother.
Yeah, those little fruit gummies.
Yes.
Those are good.
And I am sure that Nash would attest to the wonderfulness, because I know that I have a set of Swedish Burger King ponies that I traded in exchange for a bag of those at Everfree Northwest. They're just amazing. For anybody who doesn't know, Haichu, I saw some in Seattle in the 7-Eleven. If you find it, get it. It's wonderful. It's a fruit taffy-like thing that's just a little bit softer. It's just absolutely wonderful.
It's not just that you should get it; you should get multiple bags of it, because if you have one, they're worse than Pringles in that respect. You're not gonna be able to stop. They're really
absolutely good. Yes. Drink. Oh gosh, I suppose CC Lemon. I like that. It's a lemon flavored soda. That's very refreshing. Not as good as the lemon soda you've had, but
yeah, I was gonna say nothing can beat that. But then again, you can only really get that in Italy.
Exactly, yes. And food, oh gosh. I have to go with alm rice.
Hmm.
Alm rice is... It's odd because nobody in Japan believes it's a Japanese food, but it is. It's rice that has been stir-fried with ketchup, which I usually don't care for, but stir-fried with ketchup, and then placed hot on a plate with a runny omelet on top of it, and then a demi-glace sauce put on top. It's a simple dish, but oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had that.
It's almost unknown outside of Japan, which is because Japanese people don't believe it's Japanese. But I keep insisting, you guys need to bring this to other countries. It'll just, it's wonderful.
See, this is what you could do. You could move back to the States and start your own, series of franchises selling. No, anyway.
And I want to be clear, I don't like ketchup. I don't. If I have French fries, hamburger, whatever, I don't like ketchup. But this, it's amazing. I don't. Cheese is the only. It's the only condiment that I like. I don't care for ketchup, mustard.
Cheese isn't a condiment. Cheese is an enhancement.
Okay.
Cheese is like a upgrade to a burger. What
no butter on pancakes. No syrup. Nope. Just.
See, I don't put butter on pancakes, but ketchup. Come on,
no.
Not on pancakes.
No. I don't care for mayonnaise. I'll just have a burger with meat, lettuce, tomato, cheese, done.
Tut. Well, anyway, all right. Well, we got another question here. This one is from Pixel Kitties. And
Pixel Kitties, right?
Yes. She says, "Hey, you. On this, your show's anniversary of bringing Pony to a pony-loving public." See, she's going with the alliteration too. That's great.
Right.
What part of the fandom continues to inspire you, and do you think that feeling will last beyond season 4, assuming it is the last hurrah for Friendship is Magic? Well, it definitely is. I don't imagine they're going to cancel it after season 4, but
I would imagine they don't cancel it after season 4. My guess is season 6. That's my guess.
We're looking at season 20, actually. We're all going to be old men.
My logic in that is the U.S. sitcom theory, where in the first season is okay, second and third seasons are just fabulous, and then it kind of goes into a slow decline. So that's
I don't know. I get the
guess.
feeling they're not going to jump the shark on it. I don't think they will quite yet. I mean, there's a lot of material they can cover, and the season 3 finale would really opened up a lot of possibilities for.
Very true. Very true.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying there.
Gosh, area of the fandom. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind are the artists, because there are so many, and things are done so rapidly. And granted, not everybody's that good at it, but I cannot recall anything beforehand. I don't know. Before Pony,
you would
it seemed
say
to
that's
be...
a Pixel Kitty.
No, well, yeah, I mean, of course, she does some fabulous work. I've seen her recent Nightmare stuff, and that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But no, I cannot recall anything where somebody who isn't good at art would post it online. I mean, there would be people who would do fan art and it looks great. But I cannot recall anything where it's, I'm really bad at drawing Powerpuff Girls, but I put this online. And... but in Pony, you get people who are not that good and posting Pony art, and I think that's wonderful because that show it's so inspiring to them that they have to try to put something on paper.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm coming off clear on that.
No, you are. This is something I've actually said in some interviews too, that I feel like the most inspiring part of the fandom is that the fandom inspires people. It creates.
Yes, this is true.
It generates a lot of creative energy, and I think that. Especially within art and music and those kinds of expressions, that it really, the show gets people to put themselves out there to do creative works, not because they anticipate being the best at it, but just to do it, And yeah. I think I agree with you entirely.
Though if I have to guess, I would say probably when the show eventually ends, of course we will see less new art. I'm sure of this, but I think there will be a sharp decline in the amount of art we see, but I don't think it'll ever completely go away. I mean, we still see Rescue Rangers art, and When was that on? The 80s? Okay.
It was on in the early 90s, and some
That's
of
right,
us
early
may have
90s.
watched it in our youth,
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Some of us, like AC Race Best, obsess over it. Anyway. Well, okay. Next question is from Anili Heed.
Oh, Annalie Heed, Swedish Spitfire. Yes.
Swedish Spitfire, Soren's apple pie, all of that. I'm going to read the intro the way that I've been instructed to in this. Hi there! It says insert smile and voice. That's the best I can do. Okay. So this is my question. You learn something every day and from everyone, they say. In this past year, what is the greatest wisdom that you got interviewing lots of different people in this fandom? And then she says, hug and keep up the good work.
Good question. And thank you very much. Let's see. Well, okay, this sounds selfish, and I suppose in a manner it might be. I have met people who were born in America or Canada or Australia or somewhere, and they have lived in Japan for a very, very long time, and they can't speak English anymore. It's not that they're totally incapable of it, but if you try to have a conversation with them, they will flounder and be unable to speak well. I mean, it's like you're speaking to a not native speaker anymore. I've encountered people who have been here only 5 years, and that happens. That's a rare case. But since I do teach English, the people who stay here a long time, they have to practice. You have to keep your English up, and you can only do that by speaking to people, listening to people, shadowing people, enhancing yourself. One of the things that this show has really helped me to do is to keep my English at top-notch level. Because I have been able to speak to so many people in English, and I've got to keep them speaking as well for the full hour interview.
Mm-hmm. No, I should warn you against ever going to Ireland, because I was there for a week one time and picked up the entire intonation. Suddenly you start talking like this, and it goes up and down in your sentence structure, and it's like, oh my goodness.
That kind of happened to me one time when I went to California.
Oh my
Everything
god.
became a question.
Were you somewhere near Sacramento?
I may have been.
Oh my god. And half the audience leaves. No, I think that's actually a really solid answer to that, because it's something I think most people don't really consider, is that, yeah, you're in a sea of non-English speakers.
Very true. And my English has gone down. It's unavoidable. I know that my English is not as good now as it was when I left for Japan 12 years ago. But at the same time, I think it's held up much stronger than it would have had I not had this show and had the chance to interact with so many people. I mean, I can mention, yes, I've learned how to use audio editing programs, and learned how to use Premiere, and learned how to try to stay calm when something happens and there's a technical flub up with the show. Sometimes I'm able to stay calm, and sometimes I'm not.
There. I know what you're talking about.
But yeah,
I'm
quite happy that I'm able to maintain my English with this. That is my selfish answer to this. Yes.
No, that's not a selfish answer. That's a solid answer. All right, well, this next question is from Monique Krieber.
Oh, Monique.
Michelle Krieber's mother, and a very talented vocal coach and singer herself. And, well, this is from all three of them, actually, Michelle, Monique, and Michael. Quote.
Oh, okay.
What are your reflections on your first in-person convention experience at Everfree Northwest last July? I love how she said last July, because it's just been only a few months, but when it comes to conventions, as soon as one's over, at least I always think, oh yeah, that was last year. But she also says it was great to meet you, by the way.
Oh, it was wonderful to meet them too. Everfree Northwest, I had a wonderful time at Everfree Northwest. I'm really happy people were able to come to my panel and see it.
That was a great panel. I came and crashed that too a little bit.
I did make a mistake in not using the microphone. My voice projected within the room just fine, but anybody watching the video, I'm sorry if you couldn't hear me.
I've been told that there's a portion of that video when it was recording. I came in to check on how things were going, and generally when we record panels, yeah, people are using microphones, or we're picking up the audio from the front of the room. So yes. I leaned over to Viral, who was recording the panel at the time, and I started bothering him about something, and he goes, "Shh, you're getting picked up by the camera. So I haven't gone through and listened to the whole thing yet, but I fear that somewhere in there, I think I was doing my Russian accent in there too. I don't even know. That was a fun panel.
It was fun, and I had a really good time. It was really nice to meet a lot of people, but at the same time, that was a huge expense for me in both time and money. And it actually happened at a very inopportune time. Japanese government decided to really enforce the tax that I owed them by taking it out of my paycheck. So I saved up for almost a full year to go there. I mean, I was in very low money, and that added a lot of extra expense to it. I had a great time at Everfree Northwest, but honestly, I don't know that it was worth the amount of money and effort that I had to put forth to go there.
I don't know. I think it's always good to finally meet, all these different people.
I absolutely agree, and I think it was a wonderful thing. And I think had I not had the tax problem, it would have been absolutely worth it, and I would go again in a heartbeat. But
so what you're saying is you're now the Japanese equivalent of a libertarian.
If that means poor person who can't afford to, if that means poor person who can't afford to go to international conventions,
it was about the taxes. It's a bad joke.
Just, I see.
Just shake your head at it and ignore it. And
these jokes are very taxing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, I know where you're coming from, because I definitely bankrupted myself going to all these different conventions this year, and I live in the States, and it's so significantly cheaper. I think people really have to appreciate how much, because it's true. For everyone who doesn't know, which is I suppose most people, he was talking to me about Everfree Northwest 2013 during Everfree Northwest 2012, and right afterwards, he's like, okay, well, I'm planning on it. Have they announced the weekend? I've already asked for that time off. And just every couple weeks or so, he would just say, oh, yeah, no, I've done this. We made arrangements here. So.
Yep, it took a long time.
Yep. All right, well, I think it's I think it's time to ask a question from somebody in, your region of the world now. This is Norman Sanzo, one of the hosts of the MBS show. He asks, hello there, Osaka Jack. Congratulations on your first year anniversary. It sure has been awesome. It sure has been an awesome year for you. Smiley face. But I got a few questions for you. I hope you can answer them. One,
Me too.
How long have you lived in Japan?
I have lived in Japan 11 and a half years now.
There you go. Number two, being in Osaka, have you picked up on any Kansai Ben? And I don't know what that means.
Kansai Ben refers to the Kansai accent.
Ah.
I have not picked up on it where it's influenced me. I can hear it. Not all the time, but I can hear it somewhat. Yeah, I can hear it, but it's not distracting enough for me. It's not until I visit Shikoku, which is like the backwoods southern island that nobody visits. Their accent is very strong, and when I visited there on vacation, it was difficult to understand them. Even though I knew they were speaking a simple Japanese to me, I was like, I have no idea I don't know.
That happens in the southern portions of the United States as well, actually.
Yes, very true.
And that's why tourists just generally avoid that region. And he's got a third question. Will you be going to any convention in the future?
Yes, absolutely. I was unable to attend the last one, but I am going to be going to the Tokyo PonyCon. So Japan PonyCon in Tokyo, Japan. I believe it's January 4th or 5th, whichever one is the Sunday. I will be going to that one. And I'm intending to go to I hope they have another one next year. They haven't announced that specifically yet, but Tokyo ones are possible for me to do, because when I finish, I can get on a night bus and get back here before I have to work in the morning.
I've always wanted to go to Japan. I was actually telling you this last week, that I wish I could, find an excuse to get out there, because it's on my bucket list. It's on my list of places I've always intended to go at some point. Well, he ends his email. He says, once again, congratulations on your first year anniversary, and here's to another year. He raises his glass.
Thank you.
And he says, P.S. If you need a co-host or a guest host on your show, he's always open.
Thank you. I believe he's on a 75th show or something like that, and that's
they've
amazing.
Been going strong for a long time.
Yeah.
And they're good guys. That's with Daniel and Norman, right? The
That's
two
right,
of them. Yeah, we did They had me on their show one time, and yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, this next question is from Amy Keating Rogers.
Oh, AKR, nice.
Quote.
Who has, incidentally, been trying to get me to try kale, and I refuse to because it's a nasty, nasty plant that does not deserve to be eaten. No.
Hold on. Is this stemming from the same, disdain for condiments? I mean, what is this?
No, this is, you know what? If you get me a piece of kale with a bunch of ketchup and mustard on it, I might try it.
Just out of principle?
Well, just out of the idea that something really bad might cancel out something else really bad.
Well, okay, here is her question. Were you always a fan of animation growing up? She's got a couple more to go, but I'll ask that one first.
Yes, absolutely I was. I remember when I was younger, I actually rather enjoyed the fact that I have 4 sisters and a brother. I'm the oldest one, but now it's more acceptable for a boy to watch Pony, or I would assume other girly shows. Have you seen the new Barbie? It's really well written. It's good.
I actually have not seen that.
I recommend it. But anyway, that's a different point. But yeah, at the time, I would try to watch as much animation as I could. Saturday mornings, watching animation, and I'm sorry, I'll say it flat out, I think She-Ra was better than He-Man. The animation She-Ra was better than the animation He-Man. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I've never seen either of them, though I know of them. They were right before when I started watching TV.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
But yes, I have always been a large fan of animation and newspaper comics and comic books if I was able to buy them.
Fair enough. Second question, what was your favorite animated show when you were a kid?
Oh, gosh. Well, since I never really stopped watching them, it's difficult for me to say where the kid line is. I do know that my sister and we loved Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs. But at that point, I was in high school, so I'm not sure if that really counts as kid.
Depends on your state of mind, I suppose.
I know that we had gotten, when we got home in the afternoon, our mother was working, so she would come home a few hours later, but we would watch Tiny Toon Adventures, and then Animaniacs was on right after that. Yep. We got good enough where we would take a Categories dice, which has, most of the letters on it. We would roll it, and that letter would be the only words we would sing for the theme song.
See, I used to watch those shows when I was a kid after school, and those two in particular. Though I tend to skip Tiny Toons because for some reason I didn't think it was funny when I was a kid, but Animaniacs cracked me up. Anyway, yeah. So real
fast. I will answer. Spectacles. Yes, I enjoyed Gem. I did. That's another reason I was glad to have 4 sisters, because I liked that animation for some reason.
There you go. Yeah, but I always watched Animaniacs, but I never got that far where I could remember all of the words. I just remember Bill Clinton playing the sax. That part of the of the opening credits. Okay, next question from her. Before being introduced to My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, what were some of your favorite animated shows that you watched as an adult?
Good one. Well, Powerpuff Girls was a big one. Gosh.
You would say that. She wrote for that.
Well, no, it honestly was. In graduate school, the 2 people that I shared an office with, they were actually a married couple, but we were all in the same program. She was a blonde girl, and 2 of her friends, one of them was a dark-haired girl, and the other one was kind of a ginger, and they literally decided to call themselves Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. To the point of she was actually called Professor Bubbles at one point by a student. So yeah, that was a favorite of mine. Gosh. I'm trying to think, because 11 and a half years ago I came over here, so I liked Air Master. That was an anime that never really became popular, but it was really cool. Gosh. Yeah, I would say Powerpuff Girls was a good one.
Fair
I'm going to get just killed for this, but I did not care for Ed, and Eddie.
Oh, that's a death sentence among some.
I know.
Not me though. I haven't actually watched it, but I probably should, given that almost everyone who works on My Little Pony worked on that.
I know. It just I didn't care for it. I think possibly the theme song turned me off. One note repeated over and over, just in different increments. Just I couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
and
it
the
had
jerkiness and the
yeah, the visual style for me actually. I wasn't interested in watching it because of that. I've always been picky when it comes to animation. If I see something I don't necessarily like about it, like when I was really young, I never watched Tailspin because I couldn't stand the theme song.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm opposite for you on that. I liked the theme song, and I watched Tailspin a lot.
I've been chided endlessly by half the EFN staff when I admitted that. But yeah,
rightfully so.
Silence you. Anyway. No, I never got into that, but same with Gummy Bears. Couldn't stand that because it used to be the Disney Afternoon. But yeah, anyway.
Right. Yeah. It's just recently that I've started watching Adventure Time, which I don't know. It's a show that I'm not sure if I like it yet, but I'm not stopping watching it.
It's interesting. It has that effect. I've gone through and watched the series, and it has its moments that are really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, this next question comes from, and I'm gonna just read it as his email name is read. That weirdo Yup.
Okay. Yep. From the Daily Oat.
Yep. Editor-in-chief of the Daily Oat. He says, "Hi Jack. Congrats on the year's anniversary. Here's to many more in the future. My question is this: if you had to change one thing about Friendship is Magic, the show itself, not the fandom, what would it be?" It's a hard question.
Yeah, actually it is. Change one thing. Gosh, you know what? I'm not really sure because I believe that anything I'm going to suggest is something that might happen. Okay, how about this? I'm not sure if it's the show itself, but I would really like it if Hasbro and the Hub would stop spoiling the episodes before they're aired.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean,
I'm just holding on right now. Twitter, every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, please don't spoil it, please don't spoil it, please don't spoil it.
It's hard.
I have a very strict rule on Twitter, and I'm sorry if somebody doesn't like this, but yeah, if you spoil something, I'm not going to follow you, and if you tweet it directly at me, I'm going to block you.
Yeah,
it's just that easy.
I tried for a majority of season 2 to avoid all spoilers before episodes. It's really hard to. I mean, it is, especially given. I mean, this is a meme-based fandom at least a large portion of it is. So as soon as something airs, everybody is working off of those recordings and creating animations and images. And it's part of the fun of the fandom, but it means that I used to go to a debate tournament in the morning on the Saturdays that it would air, and then back, for season 2 and for actually part of season 3, I would have a tournament in the morning that I would have to attend, and so I'd miss the airing of the episode. I'd come back and I'd have to avoid everything online in order to, not. Yeah, but so I definitely hear you on that.
Mine is similar in that they show at 2 a.m. for me. 2 or 2:30 a.m. and I don't care for the quality on the live stream, so I would never watch them. I would just go to bed. I would wake up on Sunday, try to watch the episode before Saturday Night Songs, because I know somebody in chat would say, "Hey guys, didn't you love it when this and this happened?" And I'd be like, "Well, there we go. That's great, thanks, wonderful."
Well, we try to encourage active discussion during that show.
Yes. And yeah. Well, no, not necessarily spoken, but in the chat, somebody would mention something, and I'd be like, One of the first brony sites that I used to visit regularly was My Little Brony off of the Cheeseburger Network. And it's gotten to a point now where I can't visit them during the season because I know somebody's going to be spoiling something. So, yeah, once season 4 ends, then I'll go back to that site and see what I missed. But until then, sorry.
Well, Yup has another question, which is I'm interested to hear the answer to this as well. He asks, have you seen the brony community growing in Osaka or in Japan following the show's airing over there? Because now they're airing episodes in Japanese.
Yes, they are. They just aired. Actually, yesterday they aired Sisterhood Social. So last week, so it was really interesting when I had Fina Helion on. That was after Tokyo had seen Luna eclipsed, and a few days before I had seen Luna eclipsed. So it was very well timed.
Yes.
It has started to grow, yes. I haven't seen a lot of it yet, but it is growing. The Japanese products that are starting to be available are really cool.
They know how to make kids stuff. And they know how to make fan animated or animation, based merchandise. Yes. They have a history of it.
Yesterday, they actually tweeted a teaser for 6 new iPhone cases, and they look amazing. They really do. So I know that they're starting to promote it, which is good. I haven't seen it in stores yet. Crane Games, I've seen it because I am really good at Crane Games, and I've gotten literally 150 of the Pony toys from Crane Games. But
see, you could start a racket in Atlantic City or something, and you can come back to the state. Hey kid, you want a stuffed animal?
Oh Lord!
I have gotten more people on Twitter that are Japanese to follow me and admitted bronies, and I think that's great. I think that's wonderful. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how big it's going to get, because we've just seen Discord, who was really good in Japanese, and yeah, it's growing. I hope it grows really quickly, because right now it's season 2 that's airing, which is really when the brony community started to explode in the English-speaking world. So it's my hope that it'll be the same thing over here.
Well, this actually is a perfect question to follow this up with. This is from Axel Foley.
Hey, Axel.
He says, what's the weirdest toy or item you've gotten from a Crane game, either while getting ponies or not?
Oh, gosh, weirdest... Well, actually, I have about a dozen of these things because they were sitting on top of a pony. And literally, it was that easy for me to get a dozen of them. Just, okay, now. It's called Clinope, and I have no idea what it is. It looks like an oblong head with eyes on each side, like a hammerhead shark. It's completely yellow. The eyes are pink, and the very bottom of its butt is a pink dot. And I have no idea what these are.
What?
It's cute, admittedly, but at the same time, I'm like,
have you done any searches to find out anything about it?
As far as I can tell, it's from a cell phone game, but nobody knows anything beyond that. So I guess it's just a cell phone game character that's nondescript, except being odd.
Oh man. Okay. Well, next question is from Sakura Cheetah.
Oh, Sakura Cheetah. Speaking of Japanese bronies. Aha.
Is that pronounced properly? Is it Sakura or
Sakura Cheetah?
Sakura Cheetah. From Sakura Cheetah. He says, hello, this is Sakura Cheetah. I have a question for Osaka Jack's next Into the Spotlight. Well, good for you. There you go. The question is, what was your first impression when you came to Japan?
I assume he means of Japan.
Of Japan, yeah.
Sure. Well, I came here... When I came to Japan, I didn't have a computer, I didn't have a cell phone, and at that time, that wasn't a problem. Once a week, I would walk to the internet cafe, and I would go on the internet for 2 hours, and it would cost me $2. And that was fine. That was enough for me. So I can tell you my initial reactions coming to Japan. I don't know how ripped they are anymore, because things have changed so much. There was a huge culture shock, which I was mostly ready for. But I don't know. I think one of the biggest surprises I had in my first year was after 8 months, I was going to visit home for Christmas, and the bus that was taking us to the airport had English announcements, and it was the first English I had heard in 8 months, and it like shocked my system. I was like looking all around. Who said that? Who said what? Oh, English. Except for the other English teachers, it was the first English I had heard in 8 months, and it shocked me to hear it. So I don't know. I think that was a good culture shock that I had. But
yeah, oh, that's interesting. Well, there you go. He says thanks. And let's see here. Who do we have next? From Silver Slinger, formerly Chaotic Brony. I wonder why he changed his name. He's been slinging a lot of silver. But anyway, he says, how did you come about having a show on everfree.net?
Oh, okay. Well, gosh, when did that start? I guess it was Everfree Northwest 2012, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Everfree Northwest 2012, I had money to attend, but I didn't have the time. So I actually sent a huge box of stuff to the guests. There's a little something for each of the guests.
You also sent a huge box of stuff to the Everfree crew.
Yes, to the guests and Everfree Network crew. And I essentially said on there, hey guys, thank you very much for doing it. I really appreciate it. It lets me, experience the cons even though I can't be there. And through that, I think we got in touch and started speaking a bit. And
well, you had been a regular on Saturday Night Songs for a long time.
That's true. I had been on regular for 4 months since then. And I even snuck a question into Everfree Northwest.
I laughed at that, yeah, and I inaccurately said that you were one of the only bronies in Japan during that panel. Right. I attribute that to exhaustion, but I'm not going to admit that publicly, or I just did. No, but yeah, I remember because I think was it during the Qmart Crusader panel, or was it during no, it was during the VA panel.
It was during the VA panel because Nicole Oliver mentioned that Ken from Japan had also been in contact with her, and he's one of the people in charge of Japan PonyCon right now.
Well, there you go. Yeah, it was funny because I remember I was just laughing like, of course he got a question. Of course he got one somehow.
I remember screening that question.
There you go.
But after that, I suggested to you I had an idea for a show, and it was a not very good idea. I originally I was going to have a game show.
Yep, I remember this.
Yep, I was going to have a game show, and it was going to be somewhat trivia and activities and prizes, and the biggest problem was who's going to provide the prizes and how are we going to judge it. I think it could have been done, but I think it would have required a lot more effort and maybe some sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, this is just as a side note, this is something that comes up occasionally in my inbox. I've had about 4 or 5, people who have come forward and say, well, I want to do a game show on EFN. And I ask them all the same question, where are the prizes going to come from? How are you going to keep your audience from just cheating on the questions? How are the participants going to participate without cheating or whatever? I mean, it just became the way to manage all of those different variables. It's one of the few formats of programming that's very difficult to do online.
Oh, absolutely. And it seems like it'd be easy because it looks like everybody's having fun and just doing things randomly, but that's not how it works. It takes a lot of planning to get those things done.
Yeah, it does. But at the same rate, if I remember correctly, I said, well, I have another idea you could do.
At that time, I think it was Radiant Eclipse had been out, so it had stopped.
Yeah.
So you suggested that I do a similar theme show.
Well, I think I suggested that you focus on the interview portions, or that you could, basically, Radiant Eclipse, the guy who was running that, decided he just didn't have the time. He's a college student, and so he put that on hold. And so I was saying, well, there's still a need for the fandom to hear from, bronies that aren't talked about as much but deserve attention. So yeah.
So and that got it going.
Yeah.
So that's essentially how it started. I did about 2 or 3 interviews, and then we finally got it going. And
true story. So I listened. Back right around when you. I often make new shows do pilots. It's evil of me, but it's because it forces the people who are going to be producing those shows to actually do the production. Because it's one thing to have a crew of 5 people say, we're really excited, we have a show we want to do, and we're going to do all this production work, don't worry about it. But it's another thing for them to buckle down and actually go through that process. So I just remember listening to your first, and I think this is why for me it's the first episode, because it was the one I listened to, which was your interview of Problems. And I listened to that, and I remember I was playing Minecraft, and I kept dying because I kept getting distracted. I'm like, and afterwards, I talked to you about it, and I said, this went great. And you're like, well, are you sure this wasn't like, is this okay here? I'm like, no, it's fine. It's good. It's good. Air it. Get it out there. And he's like, and I think you had a cold when you recorded that or something. So you're like, are you sure my voice didn't sound too clogged? And
I had started to get some allergies, and actually I've got them a little bit today, but that is a definite thing I have improved over the year, is learning how to not sniffle into the microphone. Because when you go back later and try to edit a 1-hour interview where you've sniffled every few seconds, it takes a long time.
Yeah, well, certain editors who may or may not be producing tonight's show are certainly aware that I've recorded myself coughing more than enough times.
I've also learned, whenever recording, keep a pad of paper next to me so that I can write down the time if there's any flub.
It is a very efficient way to go about that, because otherwise you'd have to go and listen through, and just a mess. But he's got more questions for you, Chaotic Brony, aka now Silver Slinger. Has MLP and or the fandom changed your life in any way? The answer is probably yes.
No, not at all. I have
not
never,
at all.
No. I had a weekly show before this. I have a weekly show during that, and no, of course I'm joking.
I just go to the internet cafe twice a week now.
It absolutely has. I've interacted with a bunch of people that I never would have had the chance to. I've made a lot of friends, gotten blocked by quite a few people, which is fine.
It happens.
I always say this. Every month I block a large number of people on Twitter who I don't like, companies or bots following me. So it would be hypocritical of me to complain when somebody blocks me. So, no, fine. Somebody wishes to block me. That's absolutely wonderful. But yeah, I've made a lot of friends. I've interacted with a lot of people. I'm going to be going to Tokyo to meet people I never have before, just because we all tend to like a pony show. It's, I think it's... I think it's changed me for the better, to be sure. Yeah.
He asks next, do you see yourself forever still a brony 10, 20, 50 years down the road?
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know specifically that I'll be watching the show as much 20 years down the road. But
well, the world changes.
Yeah, absolutely. But absolutely, I doubt that this will be a time in my life that I'm ever going to regret or feel that I shouldn't have done. I've got a good imagination, and I cannot imagine a situation where that would happen.
Well, and down the line, maybe there will be a My Little Senior Citizens home, and we can all...
Sure!
Okay, how many seasons of MLP do you hope to see? That's a rough question. That's hard to do.
My guess is that there will be 6. I think after 6, my guess is that the Friendship is Magic will stop, but I think a spin-off will start. That's what I'm thinking will happen.
I think it'll be interesting to see what they do, because I know that Lauren originally had a vision of the story arc of where this show was going, and now Megan's taken over, and the show. Yeah, I mean, look at how this season is going to start. I mean, it's changed inherently.
True.
So there's a whole realm of different storylines which could all be spoiled to you through Twitter.
I think of an interesting thing about this show, and not a lot of animated shows do this. If you look at The Simpsons, Lisa is still 8. Bart is still in the 3rd grade. Homer is still working at the nuclear plant. Maggie is still a baby who has only, to my knowledge, said one word. And it's literally 20 years later. They're the same characters over and over and over again. But with Pony, we are seeing changes that are continuing throughout the series. Babs is a person who visited and now is a member of the Cutie Mark Crusaders that we see later. Twilight has wings, and I doubt those are going to just go away.
Well, sometimes it's a passing thing. They'll mold off and
yeah.
No, but so
I think it's interesting, but at the same time, I don't think that it's as permanent of a thing as the first 13 years of Simpsons. Everybody really, really, really liked it.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what it does. I personally have always had a fear that if they do decide to just up and go Gen 5, that they will do something abhorrent like Gen 3.5. But for now, I always remind people when they ask me, how many seasons do you see MLP having? I always remind them, right now, as it stands, this is the Hub's cash cow. This is the show that is making them tons of money and getting them tons of attention. They have no reason to get rid of that. They have no reason.
Very true.
So it could be, who knows? Who knows how many more seasons? But, I don't think they're going to jump the shark on it. I get the feeling that the writers and the producers, wouldn't really let that happen. But anyway, he's got a couple more quick questions. How do you see the writers and show staff wrapping up the series? That's hard. I said quick questions and I lied. That one's difficult.
I think it was alluded. I don't think they know, but I think something they alluded to during the panel at Everfree Northwest 2012, where you had Michelle Krieber, Maddie Peterson, Claire Corlett. I think they hinted at it that they don't want the Cutie Mark Crusaders to get their cutie marks because that would be the end. There's no reason for them to maintain being. To help others, sure, but for the most part, the Cutie Mark Crusaders would be over once they get their cutie marks. So I can fully see that being one of the last things that happens in the series.
Yeah, I can imagine that. There are also any other kind of plot points that need to be resolved would start,
sure.
Resolved.
And my prediction is that Celestia and Luna will de-larcenize. De-larcenize, they will both lose their wings and just become regular unicorns.
Is that the verb now, larcenize?
I declare it to be so.
Is that your own term?
Yes.
Because I might steal it from you and commit a larceny.
I set you up, I put the ball on the tee, I gave you the driver, and you hit it very well. Congratulations.
Sand trap! Damn! Alright, next one is from Joy. Joy, you're in the chat. I see you there. Okay. What's the most surprising thing you've learned during the last year of the show?
Surprising thing? Well, to be totally honest, surprising for me was people wanted to talk to me. People wanted to talk to me. That honestly surprised me. I really believed that I would get like 10 shows down and then just be going, nobody wants to talk to me. Everybody's refusing to do an interview, blah, blah, blah. I honestly thought that was going to happen. But it didn't. And another one that honestly surprised me, I don't like the sound of my own voice. I don't care for it. I don't think it sounds very good, but I've had a lot of people tell me that it's a good voice. And that has shocked me. I know, I don't know what they say. I've got a wonderful singing voice, and I don't know.
That sounded like Barney from the Andy Griffith Show.
Actually, I was trying to do Natalie Sharp when she was imitating the rabbit. I don't know what we're doing here, but we need to have some tea. Okay.
Natalie is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
So yeah, that was very surprising to me that people thought that I had a good voice, because honestly, I did not believe that beforehand.
Well, we've got one last email with 4 questions. And this is from good gentleman, sir, Chris Otaku Squirrel. How are you doing?
Oh, yes, Otaku Squirrel, hello.
Everyone's favorite park ranger from California. And also, yeah, creator
top
of
top five.
Well, for me, it's him or Iron Pony. They both are rangers in California. But anyway, yeah, no, he does a lot of really good customizations of the figurines. Like he made a Firefly that I bidded hundreds of dollars on. Nice. But anyway, he says top 5 in the chat. All right, here is his message. It says, "Yo, Jack, sorry about taking so long to ask some of these, but here goes." Number 1, MLP has literally rocked the world with its impact. Do you hold DHX and all the other fine people who work on the show responsible for the resultant earthquakes, and in particular the devastating tsunami in Japan?
No.
That was a question I pre-read, and I thought, should I ask it? No, I better ask it. I gotta hear the reaction.
Because I know him, and I know that it is sent in good humor, I'm fine with it. That's no problem. But
Yeah.
No, I think the show has been absolutely wonderful, and of course, it was Lauren's vision and her amazing Bible that did it. Honestly, if she would auction off that Bible, she could just retire right now, go make her own shows, start her own network. But
yeah.
at the same, but I think I don't know. I think it was just a chance grouping of a lot of talent and a lot of people that really wanted to see a good show that made it happen, and I'm very, very happy that it did.
Next question from
Yes.
Mr. the Squirrel. How many different flavors of Kit Kats are there?
Okay, well, that's an interesting question. Right now, there are 3, and there are almost always 3. But the third one always changes in Japan. They adjust every few months. They'll come out with a different flavored Kit Kat. They just finished pumpkin pudding Kit Kat for Halloween, which was amazing. Before that, there was dark chocolate strawberry.
Ooh.
Very good, yes. Most of them have been absolutely wonderful. Blueberry cheesecake was amazing. Some of them, not so much. I didn't care for the green tea and bean paste myself.
The snot-flavored ones, not so much. The, yeah. No.
So at any time, there's 3 or 4. But overall, in time that I've been here, I've seen maybe 30.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when you came to Everfree Northwest, you brought a smorgasbord of them, and
yes, it did. Yep.
A certain Michelle Krieber has a history of conventions before then and after then of throwing Kit Kats at her audiences. I hold myself completely innocent of that behavior.
Yep.
Okay, his third question is, regarding your love of MLP, are you interested in cartoons and animation in general, or is there a subset within this category that interests you? Anime and Western animation, etc. That sort of thing.
And we mentioned a little bit. Yes, I do like animation very much. I really don't like. I'm not sure if it's a term or if I just coined it merch anime.
Merch anime?
Merch anime I attribute to those animations which have been made specifically to sell a toy. And they have low production value, they have not very good acting, they have not even smooth animation within them. I don't like those.
Scan.
Yeah,
that's
and there are a
scans.
lot of those in Japan that will come out and, we have a new toy, let's make an animation for it. Fine. I don't care for those at all. But, yeah, I get upset with the late-night animes that they're wonderful, but they have so much time set aside to commercials that it gets very frustrating for me. Recent ones would include Attack on Titan or Puera Magica Madoka. Really good, but if you include the intro theme and the ending theme, the whole thing is like 17 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's a ridiculous short amount. But, overall, I like animation in general. I'm happy to see Western animation start coming back. To be totally honest, for a long time here, there wasn't a lot of great stuff coming out of the States. Or the Western world. But
yeah, there was a lot of cheap material that was produced. But
yeah. So,
the chat's saying that I shouldn't mention Jewel Pet.
Oh, no. So, TV Tokyo gets Pony episodes on Tuesday morning. Osaka Television gets them Saturday morning because TV Tokyo has to be first. Mm-hmm. Which is fine because I get to watch Saturday morning cartoons. It's awesome. But it's on at 6:20 in the morning, and immediately after My Little Pony, there is an animation called Jewel Pet. The purpose of Jewel Pet is to get 5 to 6 year old girls to start using makeup and wearing jewelry. And that's it. And
I was warned not to mention it.
it annoys me to no end that follows Pony, which is such a positive image for everybody, but girls especially. You can do this. You don't need. Yeah. Now let's wear makeup and wear jewelry.
Spectacles is saying evacuate.
Okay.
Anyway,
I'll back down.
Well, I mean, I've mentioned this to you. We talked last week, in anticipation of this show, and I mentioned tonight's show. And I mentioned that one of my life goals is to get to Japan, but in particular to go to the Studio Ghibli Museum.
Oh yes, Studio Ghibli.
Oh my goodness. So, would you say that anime of that caliber has influenced your tastes, or in my case, it was in effect an opening to animation as a genre that I could appreciate?
I can see that. I can see that a lot. And yeah, there are a lot of really, really good animes out there. And it's obvious when some group or somebody has taken the time and put forth the effort in writing and acting and animation. It shows. There are a lot of great ones. And honestly, for me, that's the big thing, is animation style I'm mostly fine with. If you want to do anime, Western, CGI, whatever, do it well. Do it well or go home.
Yeah, do the job right, or don't do it at all.
Yeah. And that's the important thing to me. If it's well done, I'll watch it and I'll enjoy it. And if it's just sloughed out, then no, I'm not going to enjoy it, and I'm not going to speak well of it.
So aside from Jewel Pet, what else do you watch?
I don't watch a lot of animes over here just because I do have to get up early in the morning, and the best ones are usually on really late night. And I am working during the day, even late at night, so I don't get to see the ones that are on prime time so much. So, honestly, I don't watch a lot of anime anymore. I like Japanese variety shows. I find them to be hilariously random and some of the best pranks I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, they make animations out of those pranks that get worldwide attention.
Yeah.
Well,
but yeah, and
go ahead.
I do enjoy watching a lot of the fan-made animations now, because honestly, you can spend a lot of time watching those now.
Yeah, the quality and quantity has been just ramped up.
It's increased exponentially, and that's wonderful. I'm very happy about that.
Well, okay, the last question of the evening, and this one is still from Otaku Squirrel. How come you don't invite him to play CAH more often? And I don't know what CAH stands for.
Oh, well, I try. Honestly, I don't play as much as people think I do. I really only play a few times, but I try to invite people that I can. But honestly, I really prefer a small group when I'm playing that game.
Now, what does CAH stand for?
Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Derp.
No, I do enjoy playing with him a lot, and I will invite you more, man, I promise. I just don't play as much as people think I do. I really don't.
He plays all the time.
I'm playing it now.
We have been this entire show, and some of the things that he's been saying, it's been... Anyway... Well, all right. We've gone through all of the emailed questions. Thank you guys all for tuning in. And I just want to say on a personal note, thank you for continuing to do all this amazing work towards your program.
Thank you.
Is a pillar of EFN, sir. It was a real pleasure meeting you at Everfree Northwest in person, and it's been really great working with you over the past year, and I'm definitely looking forward to another year of these interviews, because I think you're doing the fandom a service, sir. Sir, you're doing a good service. Honestly, there are a lot of bronies out there that don't get the attention they deserve, that work harder than a lot of the ones that are getting all of what is now being called horse fame in this fandom.
Yes.
And it's true. There are a lot of really talented, lesser known people that deserve to be better known, and I think that your interviews have really helped them, and also just been... it's opened a lot of minds, I think, to the possibilities of what each person can do. Like I said earlier tonight, I personally feel that this community is the strongest portion of this fandom, in that it stokes and inspires people to do more creative works. And I feel like your program is helping that process. So thank you
Thank
on
you.
my behalf.
Yeah.
And
And I'd just like to say thank you very much to all my guests that have been on and everybody that's going to be on. I interview one person a week, so I do not have time to speak to everybody that I would like to. I really appreciate people sending me suggestions, and I ask you to keep doing it. But like I said, I can only do one person a week, so there's a chance I won't be able to talk to you.
Well, if you ever feel like doing 10 people a week, that would be insane. But if you find
my left eye won't stop twitching.
That would be the caffeine again. We've talked about this. Also, you need to stop watching the Jewel Pets.
Yes.
I want to thank the chat for mentioning that, because I'm going to torment you with it now.
Yay! Thank you so much, chat. Now I have something that I'll be tormented with. Oh dear.
No, but in all honesty, it's been a good first year, and here's to another.
Yes, absolutely. I have no intention of stopping just yet. I'm still going once a week, and I have some plans for the show in the future that I don't want to mention in case they don't get off. But yes, we are planning stuff. So yeah,
super sneaky.
Thank you very much. Yep. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and I hope to have you continue to tune in.
Give it a real broadcaster tone. Come on.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Into the Spotlight with Osaka Jack on Everfree Network.
There you go. And on behalf of myself and the rest of the Everfree Network, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'll keep trying to do the best that I can do.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Spotlight is a show that focuses on the person behind the brony. I'm your host, Osaka Jack. Please sit back and relax as we talk to this week's guest brony. Hello everyone, this is Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight on my 1-year special. 52 weeks down, 52 interviews down. Today we're going to do something a little bit differently. I'm actually not going to be in control this time. I have asked my previous guests to email in questions, and today to ask me those questions and generally engage with me is my guest, Final Draft. Hello, sir.
Control is no longer yours. Sorry, I had to. Hey, how are you doing?
I am doing rather well for AM.
You know, everybody, if you didn't realize, Osaka Jack gets his name from the city that he resides in Japan. You're in Osaka, Japan right now.
Yes, this is correct.
You are literally in Tokyo time.
Well, Japan has the same time zone, so yes, I am in Tokyo time.
There you go. Well, yeah, it looks like you've got quite a few questions that have been sent to you. And now, maybe you could describe to the audience here how these questions were submitted.
Well,
because you haven't read them yet.
I have not read any of these questions. No, not whatsoever. About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I sat down with a list of my 52 previous guests, and I emailed and tweeted and messaged, and I actually set up an email account, and I set up the password, and I asked them to email the questions to it. I haven't accessed it since this morning, and I just did that to check that questions were in there, but I haven't read any of them. So, yeah, all of this is going to be a complete surprise to me. I have no clue what's going to be asked.
Now, I also have not really read through them, but I've read a little bit into them, and I'm kind of excited to ask a few of these because I think some people have some fun questions for you.
Oh my!
Yeah, before we get started, I just want to say congratulations. You know, 50.
Well, thank you.
This is our 53rd episode. You informed me, so technically the anniversary was last.
I probably could get off three clips worth. Might be enough to get me to a somewhat safe place, but I think pistol would be my best chance of surviving as long as possible.
As opposed to an assault rifle? Because I would have said assault rifle. Really
assault rifle, I think I would burn through ammo unintentionally too quickly, and would not be as accurate after the first shot.
Fair enough. Well, he did send a, quote, real question.
Oh,
and
okay.
that is, what is your favorite response to any question from a guest you've had?
Oh, good question. Well, my signature question that seems to stump most of the people that I ask is the question is, in all of My Little Pony, what would you say is the one line or one scene that defines you as a brony or speaks to you as a person? This stumps a lot of people. And I get a lot of great responses from it, but one of the best ones, honestly, was last week when I interviewed Fina Helian, the Swedish Luna.
Mm-hmm.
And her response on it after thinking of it was literally to give a Nightmare Moon laugh.
That's an unfair advantage.
True it is, but it was largely unexpected response to the question, and she backed it up saying that she loved playing Luna's character because it had so many sides to it, and everybody has a darker side and a lighter side, and they're hoping that, when we have a lighter side, we can be forgiven for what we did as a darker side, etc. But yeah, I think that's one of the better ones, is the Nightmare Moon laugh.
Well, and you were really excited after you had finished recording that interview.
I was.
He sent me a message, and he's like, "Here, you have to hear this," and sent me a couple clips of her doing the Swedish lines for Luna and Nightmare Moon, and
Derpy.
And Derpy, yep. Yep, very funny stuff. Okay, well, the next question here is from Problems. What I think your first guest ever.
He was the first person I interviewed, but actually the second, maybe third one aired. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah, I always remember him as the first interview you got, but you also, you've recorded quite a few. In your production schedule behind the scenes is a little different than maybe what it appears in front of the scenes. You record a lot of interviews, kind of in chunks, and then you edit them and then distribute them on a weekly basis, which I think a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, my time tends to be flood or drought. So during the flood times, I try to get as many interviews done as I can, so that when I have drought, I can just release them slowly. When I went to Everfree Northwest, for example, the show never stopped, because the month before I had recorded like 4 or 5 interviews at once and just edited all those to be released.
Speaking of Everfree Northwest, I just want to tell a quick anecdote that I think is hilarious. So it was the first time I had met Osaka Jack in person, and we knew he was going to be there. And when I got there, Cowboy Dave tells me, "Yeah, I met Osaka Jack. He's really, really short. He's really short. Like, he's almost like, I'm not going to say he's a dwarf, but maybe in some states." I was like, okay, I didn't expect that, but all right. And so I don't know what I was doing. Yeah, okay, you laugh it up, Dave. But yeah, no, Dave is doing our production tonight. I don't know what I was doing. It was something near the production booth, and up walks Osaka Jack, and of course he's taller than me. And I said, "I was told you were short." And I don't remember exactly what your response was, but it was something like, "Well, they lied to you."
Yeah,
all according
for a short time, I tried to start the rumor that I was incredibly short. One of the first pictures posted of me was next to John Joseko, who is not incredibly tall himself, but I was literally on my knees, so it looked like I was a good head shorter than he was.
Yeah, I mean, I had seen a picture of you before, and I'm like, in the picture, it was like, you didn't look that short. Anyway.
No, actually, I'm 6'1".
See, like I said, he's bleeps and bells. Actually, I think technically I'm 6'1", but I'm all hunched over. Anyway, so this is this question comes from Problems, and I'm just gonna read it verbatim. First of all, congratulations on the 1-year anniversary. It's cool to think that I being Problems, was the first person you actually interviewed for the show. You're a kick awesome guy, and I'm proud to call you my friend. Aw, that's adorable.
That's wonderful. Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Let's see here. He did the same thing, a funny question and a semi-serious one. Funny question. Over under on my chances of getting Maddie Peters to go on a date with me. I don't know.
What was it? One more time. I'm sorry.
I think he wants to know what is your opinion on his chances of getting Maddie Peters to go out with him. This has been a running joke with
right. Yes, yeah. Over a full year, we've been doing that joke with him.
Yep.
I would say it's not impossible, but I would say give up before you reach stalker level.
Yeah, just a little bit. No, he hasn't gotten that far. All right, the semi-serious question. If you could interview anyone who works on MLP, who would it be? And he signs off with, "Stay hype, Senpai Jack. Shine that light."
Nice. You know what? That's good. We should change the name of Into the Spotlight to just Shine That Light. I like. All right, starting second year, just Shine That Light.
Season 2. Season 3 will be Illuminate That Spot.
Gosh, well...
Guest host, was it, Slate Bok Choi, but anyway.
Gosh, anybody who works on MLP... Well, of course there's a desire to talk to Lauren Faust, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of people get to do that. But at the same time, I'm not sure I could come up with a lot of questions that she hasn't been asked about it before, so I'm not sure it would be that interesting of an interview.
I think any interview with Lauren Faust
who I
is
would
interesting.
like to? You know who I would really like to speak to are the voice casting directors. I would like to speak to some of the people who actually do the direction in the booth when they are recording. We've heard from the voice artists, and we've heard from production staff who've even been invited, but to my knowledge, I don't recall ever listening to a voice director speak.
If only someone was currently in the process of trying to make that happen.
Ooh.
No, well, hell, I'll let people know. We're definitely trying to get some of the vocal directors interviewed.
Nice.
And pursuing that. Yeah.
Great.
So that would be an interesting interview. That's something I've been wanting to do for a long time too.
Yeah.
They need more attention as well. They work really hard at what they're doing.
Sure.
Okay. This next question is from Marjan Tomba. Marjan in the chat, yes. And I see him. He's in the. Excuse me. I see that he is in the IRC this evening.
Hey, Marjan.
So here is the question verbatim. First of all, huge congrats on the 1-year anniversary of the show.
Thank you.
So the big question I have is, what got you started on MLP? What was the defining moment where you stopped and said, "Yup, I like these pastel painted ponies"? That's a lot of alliteration there.
Yes, it is. I wonder if I can answer in alliteration. Well, we wanted... No, okay.
What are you, walling? Wimp?
Why?
Whether we're... Okay, no.
Okay. Started in MLP in general. I recall the first thing that I saw online was... it was Sonic Rain Boom scene, only the audio had been adjusted to be the theme from Guile's stage.
Week, but technicalities aside, yeah.
Well, my first show was premiered on November 1st Japan time, but Halloween American time, and I remember that because one of the people listening in, Joy the Artist, couldn't listen to the whole thing because she had to go up and answer the door for trick-or-treaters.
Oh, yeah. Well, that will happen. Actually, you've had quite a few really cool, really interesting, and cool is one of those generic terms. You've had a lot of fascinating guests over the past year, and I know how much work you've put into it. For you guys out there, I mean, Osaka Jack works really, really hard on this show, and has been really dedicated to it. So,
and I do hate to mention it often, but yeah, it is mostly a one-man operation. I set up the interviews, I do the audio editing, I render the video. Sterling, good friend Sterling, is the artist who gets the cards done, so I don't do the art for it. But other than that, yeah. Well, yeah. Crescendo pushes play and makes sure that the show gets going when it goes.
She knows how to do that well. But yeah, no, it's been, I mean, you've secured the interviews and you've done most of the, well, not most of it, you've done all the editing, and yeah, it's definitely a lot of dedication, and a solid year of that is hard to accomplish for anyone doing any kind of a podcast. So congratulations from me and the rest of the EFN crew. But I think these guys, we can pat each other on the backs as much as possible. They want to hear you tormented by questions.
I'm ready. Let's hit it.
All right. I'm going to just ask the first one right off the bat here. And I'm going to read it verbatim. This is from Calvin's, and I'm pronouncing this name wrong, Sia, which I believe he's...
Death Scar. Right.
Yes, indeed. Quote, You are part of a survivor team in a zombie apocalypse. There are 3 weapons in front of you: a sword, a pistol, and an assault rifle. Each of these guns comes with 3 clips of ammo. Which will you pick and why? And, and he's got a real question after that, but I want to hear your answer.
That is interesting. I think... What was the first part of the question? Just zombie apocalypse?
It's a zombie apocalypse, and you've got to choose between 3 weapons. Yep, a sword, a pistol, or an assault rifle.
Yeah, I just... okay, apocalypse implies that there's a whole bunch of them coming at us.
Yep.
Okay, sword would last longer, but honestly, with a sword, there's so much of a chance of getting blood on me or getting a cut myself and getting infected. So honestly, even though it's going to last less time, I'm going to go with the pistol. I know that in the light games in the arcade, I'm pretty accurate, so